Hey guys, Michael here. I've had a great day. I hope you have too. Came home with 12 albums and I paid a total of $24.90, including tax, which means essentially I paid $2 an album for them. Some of them, of course, were much more than that, and some were much, much less. Here is one. Paid $1, or that they were asking $1 initially. So. New York Rock Ensemble, Roll Over. And this is the album cover that I always remembered, and whenever I thought of them, I always thought this was their first album until I stumbled on that album that I showed you folks a while back. It's not. This is like their fourth album. Came out in 1970, I believe, something like that, and. This is a first. Well, actually, it's an only press. This album didn't do so good. I got a couple of records like that, but there's the label, and the vinyl is in really beautiful shape. There's one kind of a scratch scuff sort of thing on side 2, and I haven't test played that side yet, but I just got done listening to side 1, and it sounded just glorious. And it was really a good record. I'm not really sure why it didn't do well. Anyway, even cheaper, Adrian Belew. Everybody knows who he is, especially if you're into King Crimson, right? But he had a 4-piece rock and roll band, too, In 1987, put out The Bears. And in 1988, put out Rise and Shine, which is, you can hardly tell, but it's a white-on-white kind of thing where it's a real slick white here, and then the Japanese flag part is matte white with this red rising sun in it. I happen to really like these. I also like Adrian Belew's album, Mr. Music Head. I'm not a huge King Crimson fan. I don't own a single King Crimson album. That's all I'll say about that. But I do remember these, and that I liked them. My friend Michael, or Mike Saunders, when he gave me that box of records, one of the records that was in there was this, which I had only had on cassette. And I don't think I'd ever had this one, and but it was unplayable. But these two, they look like they have never been played. There is some ring wear on the sleeves, but other than that, they are just really quite. The vinyl itself looks brand spanking new. I'm not going to say this is great stuff, but it's very good. You would kind of expect Adrian Belew to be able to do that, wouldn't you? I like it a lot. Also, are there any other dollar ones in here first? Oh yes. Yes, there are. I think all of these were, these two were 50 cents. And here's another one that was 50 cents. This is sometime in the 60s reissue of Ballad of the Blues by Joe Stafford. It is a 60s reissue. Kind of done some checking on it. Pretty sure that that's what it is in the 60s. And they had another one in there, too, for the same price. 49 cents, I think, or something like that. Maybe it was 47 cents even. And I looked at it, and it was just trash. And I've run into this album before, kind of trashed and not looking very good. This one, it's got a few spots right here where something happened, and the covers had a little bit of damage. I'm not sure what from. The vinyl looks great. I haven't played it yet. Who knows? It could sound absolutely awful. But for $1, you betcha. And for $1. Not entirely certain yet, but I do think this may be a first press. 1969. Um, the the record is in pretty good shape. I played it. It's got some crackly snaps and pops, maybe a few more than I would like. I'm thinking it might be one I should try giving the glue treatment to. There again, and that's not so much a matter of nervous space. I just don't know where I would set things up to dry overnight and all of that. And I know, I can put a fan on them and they'll dry a little faster, but still. But the cover, as you can see, now the sleeve has some nasty mildew on it, and the inner sleeve has some. So I need to get a new inner sleeve, and I wouldn't object finding a better copy. But hey, recently, this is my third copy of Carole King Tapestry. The first copy I had, I brought home. It was so awful and so unplayable, I threw it away. And I had paid like $5 for it. It looked okay till I got it home. I just couldn't stand it. The copy that I have now is pretty good and plays pretty good, but is not in the best of shape. This one, the sleeve looks really quite nice, other than that some idiot with his little, what do you call those stupid things? Yeah, MLM 666-6. I have no idea what that was about, but it could have been his zip code, because our zip code here is 666. This is the first three numbers. Doesn't that scare y'all? And then, like that, really, really nice. Did you hear that when I opened it? Inner sleeve has the original inner sleeve, and the label looks real good. I haven't done my research yet to find out whether or not if it's the first pressing. I paid $2 for it. Number one, I'm happy with that. Number two, does it really matter with that album? I mean, the truth is, this album, I believe it had the record for a number of years for the longest run on the Billboard Top 100. I think it finally got bumped off by Michael Jackson's Thriller. No, it might have been 98, 99, and 100 for several of those years, but I think it was on the Billboard Top 100 for something like 10 to 12 years. I don't remember the details now, and it's the only Carole King album I'll ever need. Even though I love Jazzman, and I mainly because of The Simpsons, Lisa Simpson, and Bleeding Gums, whatever his name was. But I'm not huge on Carole King as a solo artist. I liked her best, I think, maybe this album. But this album, I mean, honestly, I can't imagine anybody not having this album. In the very early 70s, hanging out with friends on a back porch at night, playing guitars. We were bound to do a couple of songs off of this, Earth, I Feel the Earth Move, It's Too Late. Both of those we played all the time. You Got a Friend, of course. So it's just such a great album. And this for $2. I mean, how could I walk by that? I have an awful lot of Squeeze singles, but I only have the first album, it's titled Squeeze UK. So when I saw this for $1.99, I grabbed it, and I haven't played it yet. Inner sleeve. I mean, it's a beauty. And Squeeze is a great man, and one that I think maybe a lot of people don't like them so much anymore. I think they're perceived as lightweights. And I suppose one could say that in a way. They didn't really get real topical and heavy, and they certainly played what I would call power pop in a kind of upbeat way, mostly. But musically, they were not lightweights as far as I'm concerned. They were pretty solid. Okay, here's another one. I believe, actually I paid $1 for this. Lee Michaels, Nice Day for Something. I love Lee Michaels. I really dug him back in the day. This is the second Lee Michaels album I found. I think I paid maybe a little bit more for the, well, I know I paid a little more. And here again, this is an album that's never been repressed or reissued, so, you know, a lot of these haven't been, on the other hand, forever. This one, forever, but I'm pretty sure I'm right that that's a first press or first issue. And this, you know, never been redone. Another one that I paid, okay, these, I think, initially they were asking like, no, this one, was $1.99. Traffic, Shootout at the Fantasy Factory. It's a 1974 or thereabouts pressing. Doesn't have the original label, island label, which also had the traffic symbol on one side. But that's okay. I can live with that. I don't necessarily have to have. I really like Traffic. The first two albums, I have both of those as first presses, and I would like to actually upgrade them, but not unless they're first presses. This album, Low Sparkle High Heel Boys, John Barleycorn Must Die. Those I don't mind so much if they aren't first press. The first incarnation of Traffic, though, which would be Mr. Fantasy, Traffic, and Last Exit. Those three albums I would like to have as first presses if I could find them. Okay, I don't have a lot of Jethro Tull, but I got a little more now, and this is one of my two favorite albums by Jethro Tull. The other one being Stand Up. So I was really thrilled to find this. I paid, they were asking $4.99 for it. I didn't have any objection to that. I got it home. It's not a first pressing, but it was in production for many years with this label. But it's not a first pressing. I do not believe. I'd have to do a little more checking, and that's okay. I'm not that. There are some bands or some artists where I really would like to have first pressings of what they do. Others, I'm okay if I don't. And this, Jethro Tull is one of those where I'd rather just have a really nice copy than necessarily have to have it. Oh, and by the way, while I'm talking about that, I mean, what the hell is wrong with people who are buying MoFi copies of this? I mean, my God, this is one of the most common albums ever. Okay, I already had a copy of this, and the reason I grabbed this, they were asking $4.99, and I forgot they were having a sale, so I ended up, you know, like I said, paying $24 for this stack of records. But the reason I grabbed it was because this is the first press, and what I had was the second press with Dear God instead of Mermaid Smiled. And this one has Mermaid Smiled, so woohoo! I'm a happy camper. Very pleased. And here again, stunning shape, stunning condition. And, you know, I'm just utterly, utterly happy as can be to have here. And they were asking $10 for this. And I thought, you know, I don't know, but I'm going to take a chance. Howlin' Wolf, the London Sessions. And I got home and I checked it, and yep, I do believe this is the first press. It's got, see, everything seems to match up and look right. Trying to read this. This is a B1 on this side and A on this side. So I'm pretty sure this is the first press. This is certainly the correct label. This label was from 1965 or something like that until a fair long time. Got the inner sleeve, and just a pretty record. Pretty nice in here. A little bit of issue with the paper there that I think has always been that way. I think, when they manufactured it, they glued it down, and it just kind of did that thing. So yeah, I'm really happy to have this. I think it was originally released in 70 or 71. It's cut out, and it's got just a tiny split starting there that if I'm not careful, I'm going to make worse, and a bit of bump right there. But it's nice, and it's nice to have some Howlin' Wolf back in my record collection. I don't, and I don't really run into his albums that often. When I do, they're always beat to crap. But I know that they're out there. There are a few bluesmen who I'll grab an LP. I don't care how bad it is, and I'll show you. I got a couple that are just really trashed, but that was the only way I was gonna find it. And I mean, I bought that, and still haven't seen another one. But this is what I got today. Happy day for me, and the weather's beautiful. Ms. Muffy has been, she was laying outside. She's now in the kitchen on the floor, resting her little head on her kitty pillow full of catnip. I hope you're all having a good day too.